G'day and welcome to Inforunners. I'm Execute. Today I'm joined by Space Tomato and DigThat. How are you guys doing today?
Unbelievable, my guy. Thank you for having me on the Inforunners, man. Salute, my guy.
Salute,
Doing
mate.
good, doing good. Having a good time, ready to get into some good conversation.
Yeah, so we're hanging out with DigThat and we thought we'd just have a chat and kick it off and just see where it goes. Kind of like what we did with Morphologist that time in Space. And so we're just
Yeah.
gonna kick it off, talk about the game, and yeah, just see where it goes. So DigThat, you can kick us off and we'll follow your lead, man.
All right, man. So the, this is something that we were supposed to talk about ages ago, and we had some tech difficulties. But I was thinking about how how I know you guys know somebody who is pretty much a solo player, or maybe they got a handful of friends and they buy capital size ships.
Mm-hmm.
What are they going to do when the game comes out and they have no people to crew these ships? They don't have no orgs. They don't have the. There's I know a lot of them think that you could just fill them up with NPCs, which you can't. And so that's what I want to talk about. What y'all think about that?
So that's a new game mechanic they've been working on called Used Ship Salesman. It's going to be a really big one.
So I get this question a lot because we often recommend bigger ships for people when we do the fix my fleets and stuff like that. But the principle of it is so if you have someone that's already spent a lot of money on the game, and rather than have like lots of little ships, the bigger ships are the ones that are going to multiply in value when the game comes out. And this is based on an interview I had with Chris Roberts back in 2014. He literally talked about how they were going to maximize in value, and that like an Idris was probably going to be 10 times as valuable as it is now, where a regular like Aurora or Fighter is really going to be the same. And then say something like a Constellation would be like 5 times in value. Right, so if you want to maximize your value, you're better off to get those bigger ships. And yes, it is very hard to solo one initially, but if you can get one mission done, we've also know there's an economics of scale when it comes to money. At the moment, we had Algrid in game, and he basically made $300,000 in one mission, where he made $50,000 in Aurora in 3 missions. Right, so basically, but just based on that, you can see how you're quickly earning much more money, and basically you can take that bigger ship and earn the smaller ships under it really quickly, but you can't take a small ship and very quickly earn a ship above, especially if they're going to maximize it like 10 times the cost of it is now. That's crazy to think that.
Hold on. I mean, catch you off, but when you say it's going to go up in value, are you talking about an intrinsic value or like a cash value?
In-game value.
In-game value.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right now, like you could almost, not that it is like this, but like just say it was a 1-to-1 price comparison, and then the game comes out, but then the alpha UC price is going to go up by like drastically. They talk about things like Krakens and that now. Like you can buy a Kraken for, what is it, $1,400 US.
Jesus.
But when the game comes out, like say that's what, I don't know what that is in alpha UEC because it's not in game yet, right? Let's just say it's like 14 billion alpha UEC, but that's going to be, like it's going to multiply by 10 times. So that's like what, 14 trillion or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's going to basically be like so much harder to earn those ships. So if rather than having $1,400 worth of fighters and smaller ships, you're almost better just to have that one big ship because it's going to be worth 10 times as much. And based on that, you can struggle with that one big ship initially, but you're still going to earn a heap of money and be able to go, earn down rather than earn up. I guess is the principle. And we have a lot of people that come in. Like I've had org leaders fight with me tooth and nail. Over like he reckons everyone should just buy heaps of fighters, and we also have a lot of streamers that we talk to as well, and a lot of the streamers are really in the now. They're not thinking about the release of the game because obviously, like, well, Space, you could probably talk about this. You have to show content off, don't you? So you need ships to show off now.
I'm not the kind of streamer who focuses on the now.
Yeah.
I spend all my time talking about the future and then complaining about the now. So I'm not the best person to ask about that. But I mean, there are a lot of people who want to get the ships. Like plenty of people will get ships because you get a specific loaner for that ship, and that the alternative that they want's not in the game yet. So why get that game? Why get that ship? Yeah, a lot of people are planning for the immediate future and not for later. But what blows my mind really with these big ships, and dig that what you're talking about with all these people who have these gigantic ships, like what are they going to do with them all? It's just how many there are. I mean, there are thousands of these big ships out there. They're not all going to be in game. Now, obviously, everybody who owns these ships aren't going to want to play at the same time. And I'm sure, CIG could maybe figure something out for this, but I'm constantly thinking about that. Man, they're bringing out another big military ship. They're going to sell 2,000 of these, and people are going to have them. And when the game comes out and everybody realizes, hey, I got this ship 3 years ago and I was really into this idea, but now I've got some friends who like to do mining. It's like, what are you going to do with that big ship?
I think so this is something we've thought about too. Like, as long as they're not too big that they have to be around all the time. So, the ships that you can actually park and land. So, a Polaris can be landed, right? A lot of those ships, if you think about an org, like say they've got like 20 Polarises through the entire org, we got 100 systems. So, a lot of those ships will probably be spread around the entire galaxy. And we're in Stanton today, so we're going to use George's Polarises because it's parked here, and we'll leave yours behind.
But for instance, my org's got 700 something people in it. Guarantee you, we've got more than 100 Polaris.
Oh yeah.
But there's when the game launches, we won't have more than 10 systems.
But I bet you by comparison, you don't have enough Crucibles. That's one of the ironically funny things. Like we look at a lot of fleet viewers when we recommend ships and stuff. So yeah, like there are ships that there are huge gaps. Like everyone wants this, but they don't want this. And the funny thing is, ironically, don't you want to buy the ship that everyone else doesn't have because then you'll make more money?
Just want to get the ship.
It's all about filling in them gaps, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's what I do, man. I try and fill in gaps. But I, like you were talking about earning money, like there'll be big earners. Yeah. But are most people going to have a crew for that? Like outside of orgs, like I got some buddies who were buying, Polaris is going to be big enough. But then you got people buying the bigger ships other than that, ships bigger than that. Some of them have 80 man requirements.
83 is the Javelin. Yeah.
83 is the Javelin.
Yeah.
Right. Who's going to have... Nobody's going to have 83 people on the ship at the same time.
Well,
NPCs, you can fill out some of that, but there's going to be a limitation on that. I think that's what a lot of people are missing. They think they are missing. They think they're going to be able to fill the ship up with NPCs, and that's just not going to happen. So what are they going to do? It's going to be like Space Tomato said. It's going to be the used market right there, man.
Yep, renting them out.
I think the game is pushing you towards playing together. Like you can clearly see that as it goes up, and we know that they're going to have an in-game rating system. Like this guy has 5 stars as a turret gunner and stuff like that, and people are going to pay for 5-star people, and they're going to expect 5-star level of service. And I do think you don't necessarily need to be on a ship that is full of people that are your friends. I do think, like, if this universe is as big and as we're expecting it to be, if you want to be a crew member on a Javelin, you can go to the job board. We're looking for people for this Javelin.
Dig that.
And I think that whole system will be literally, and I quote this word, you can quote me on it, essential. Because if you want to be able to do that, you're going to have to need people. And I also think a lot of the big events, like the big combat fights, like if you look at WoW, I kind of see the big fights in this equivalent to raids. And if you guys ever remember back in the day, all that happened on the weekend because you've got the people off at work, the people that are at home and that are like unemployed or got more free time. They basically gather all the resources and stuff during the week and prep for these big fights or raids that are on the weekend. And I think it'll be much the same in this game, where most of the action will go down. And you'll get the more niche ships coming out on the weekend. So during the week, you'll get your cargo ships and, your industry ships that are gathering the resources. And then on the weekend, you're going to get things like the Eclipses and the Retaliator bombers and the, and the Polarises, those more combat-focused craft coming out, because that's when the fights are going to occur. And you'll see big shifts, so Space Tomato's orgs holding down Planet X, and DigThat's org's going to come along and ruin their day on a Saturday and Sunday. Like, I think that's
rude.
We will.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we can only look at other games as a representation of where it's going.
See, that's my problem. I've never played an MMO before this game. So like you said, like back in the day, I was like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I thought I was the only one. I was like, yeah, I wasn't there.
Oh, apologies. But yeah, well, you can go look at other games. It's much like that's all we've got to rely on at the moment is how other games have done it. In a lot of cases.
But
there goes my camera.
This is different though. What'd you say?
Oh, my camera froze again. Yeah.
Oh, okay. What I was gonna say is, I think the difference with this is that Star Citizen sells this space stream of making your own way through the verse, being the captain of your journey, right? And so everybody's buying these ships accordingly. Everybody wants to be the captain of their journey. Then you got, I think there's a less amount of people that are more like me, where I want to be crew on somebody's ships and do these things. And I think that that's going to be hard to get people who have put money into their ships, and it's a lot of them that's put a lot of money into these ships, to get them to crew other people's ships. And I think the one solution that's ever came across me is if they made, and it's going to be a bad word for a lot of people, but if they made it free to play. But if you did the free to play circuit, you can only crew somebody else's ship. That would be a good gateway drug to get into Star Citizen. That'd be a good way to fill up these ships with crew.
They did say back in the day, like a long time ago, that you might be able to sell your ships for credits. So another way to look at it is, like, say you turned around and sold off like half your fleet, you just had this huge nest egg of credits, because they've also said you could literally buy credits as well. So 5,000 Alpha UEC was equivalent to $5. They talked about,
which is a ripoff.
Well, they talked. It is when you look at it, but yeah, but they were talking about funding the game that way back when, like it was as a possible idea. So I agree with Space Man, it's a ripoff, but also if you could actually sell off, like say you had 4 Krakens, you could sell off the surplus ones and do it that way. Yeah,
so earned Krakens or paid for Krakens?
Yeah, paid for.
He's saying
paid for.
You'll be able to sell ships within the game natively,
but not
without going to the gray market.
But not for dollars, for Alpha or for UEC. So you
essentially you're buying UEC.
Crazy.
Yeah,
who's doing that?
Selling shit for credits. It's something they talked about ages ago. Like people wanted to know if they could sell off ships in game, because say your fleet, because essentially the question you're asking is if my fleet's too big, what do I do? That's essentially the question you're asking. Yeah.
The weird part of that is you're essentially setting up a. Sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was waiting for an answer from DigThat.
Yeah. I'm sorry. DigThat. You go ahead.
No. It's not that. I think actually that will probably alleviate some of it, because remember when the Carrack dropped and a lot of people were invested in the Carrack, and then they found out that it was way too big for them. They couldn't solo it. There's no guns on the front. So yeah, for people in that situation, that's and it'd probably be an option. I don't know who wants to sell their $600 ship for some game credits, but
well, that's a thing you've got to question for yourself. Like, do I just want to buy the ship that sets me up perfectly for what I want, or do I want to invest my money wisely and have a ship that's bigger than I actually need, but then I can use that ship? So say you did have a Carrack, right? You can literally use that Carrack to earn not just all the other explorers. You could use it to earn all the salvage ships, all the mining ships, all the ships that are underneath it in value way quicker.
If you have the personnel.
Yeah. Right. Well, no, not necessarily. Because what I'm saying is, if you stay to safe space, say you just used it as a cargo ship, it's still going to earn more money because it's got a very big cargo bay, And again, I would argue that fitted out with 5 friends, so you and 4 friends, you'd still be earning more money than all being in separate little ships doing your own thing. And you'd be able to do it.
Still need their friends.
Yeah. So, but but I think the game is going to give you that rating system that is allow you to hire people on your ship, and I don't think the struggle is going to be there, because you can clearly see how they're trying to push players to work together.
I think we're going to have a huge problem on our hands if people can take those big ships and make money with them, because I know, and he's gone.
Is it going to be the rich getting richer, the poor getting poorer kind of thing?
I mean, we know that the play to win aspect of this game is in question. There are some, like, that's a conversation to be had. And one of the major limitations on that is that, yes, you can buy these big ships, but you can't just go and use them to start making money. You still have to build up that experience, build up that reputation, find the contacts, get the crew that can help you work these ships. If they break down those barriers, that's going to screw up the whole economy. You know, why would I want to jump in at some point if that limitation is no longer in place? That's all I have to rely on.
Yeah, that's true too.
But generalistically speaking, those same stopgaps at the very start of the game are going to be there whether you're in a small ship or a large ship, right?
Sure, but after you get past those stopgaps, then you have all these large ships that those other people didn't have.
I'm not talking about having kind of multiple large ships. So let's say you had 10 fighters. I would rather have one large ship than 10 fighters. So let's say each fighter is $100. So let's just say it's, for argument's sake, let's say it's 10 Gladiuses, right? You could melt those Gladiuses and essentially turn it into a $1,000 ship, right? So that you're going to earn so much more money with that $1,000 ship, because you can't fly 10 fighters at the same time, can you?
No, but I don't think you should be able to make good money with that ship that is equivalent to 10 of a single seat fighter.
But I think
you should.
But
you
that's economics.
You should have to be a very good player to do that.
But
you should be able to go into the game.
So you're essentially saying, sorry, and I know I'm being rude by asking this, but you're essentially saying that you shouldn't be able to use a big ship solo. That's essentially what you're saying?
Not efficiently.
Yeah, and I agree with that. But I also agree that, like, like they talked about this way back when, you essentially, like, you know how you got the mole and you can actually go between the mole and the seat, so you can essentially use a mole solo, but it's a pain in the ass because you've got to keep changing stations. So let's take that up. Let's take that from a mole to an Orion. I still think you can do that in Orion, but you have to go through 5 different seats now, not just 2. Right? Yeah. So it's inefficient as shit. So when you start the game, if you go out in Orion on your own, you could still essentially do one mining mission with the Orion, but think of the rate that you're going to earn the money. Right? So
it shouldn't be that much faster, in my opinion.
I unfortunately, I think you're wrong, mate, because it's already in the game like that right now. Like, a lot of these concepts we theorize, but they're now coming true. As Algrid said, he went into Xenothreat with an Aurora and made 50,000 in 3 Xenothreats. He went in with a Retaliator and made 300,000 in 1. That's a $50 ship versus a $150 ship. So now imagine
what was the bigger ship?
The Retaliator.
The Aurora.
Oh.
No, the Aurora is the small one.
Versus the Argo Cargo.
But that makes sense. It's a Retaliator. That's not. I mean, I'm talking about the difference between
job though.
Yeah, but I'm now going go so much. Yeah, but you got to also realize, like, that's one person in both those ships. But if you go bigger, generalistically speaking, you might have 10 people in a larger ship. So you have to have pay that is equal for each player as well. But if you can get away with doing it on your own, even if it takes 10 times longer, you'll still get all that payout. And that's a theory behind what a lot of the Inforunners stuff is basically trying to, you just got to get past that one mission. And if you make like 1 million UEC, then you can go buy a smaller ship and just play on your own. It's a difference between real world dollars and in-game dollars. And that's one of the core things that we always talk about, is trying to save those real world dollars for people.
So what I'm trying to say with the efficiency thing is not just the amount of money that you get rewarded from doing that mission. I'm talking about the costs it takes, the preparation it takes, the time it takes. I feel like if you are going out with a prospector to mine an asteroid belt as one person, you should be able to spend 5 hours out there and still not fall that far behind the one person in the Orion. Now, it's not to say that one person can't spend more time in the Orion and get more ore because they have more capacity, more power, and more capabilities. But the efficiency of doing all of that, I feel, shouldn't be outweighing the person who takes the prospector and does a good job with that. Because I think that really does start to eat into the experience of those people who didn't start with those big ships.
It's kind of built into the needing the crew then, though.
Yeah. See, that's
what I'm saying. So, like, if you have one of those big ships and you want to be the most efficient, you got to bring other people on that you need to pay.
So
Yeah.
the other thing is though, like there's a realism factor in there as well. Like if we go out, let's just say it's real simple. We go out and you've got a mining pick this big as this TV remote, and I've got one that's as big as a frickin' tree, but I can physically use it, or I'm physically larger than you. I can just do more work. So
Yeah.
I also question that. You know what I mean? So if I'm though I'm soloistically using an Orion, I'm physically using a bigger tool.
Yeah.
See where I'm going with that? So I get like it's great in theory, but life isn't always fair.
But a game should be. If they
A game
want a
should be
successful
fair.
game, it needs to be relatively fair.
But how?
If they're running an
Yeah.
Orion on their own, they've got to get out and shunt the power from one relay to another.
Yes.
They've got to get out and move the storage
Yep.
bays into the new place to receive minerals. They've got to get out and change the mining lasers. They can't just sit there and run the laser like a prospector could.
I agree with that 100%. But I still think at the end of the day, you're I really want. I'm going to show an image after this, right? There's an image. If you search Star Citizen Prospector Orion, and it's this gray boxed image of the Orion and the Prospector. The Prospector doesn't even make up a quarter of one of the saddlebags on the Orion. That's how much smaller the Prospector is than the Orion.
All right, maybe Prospector Orion is a bad example. Let's say a ship between a mole and an Orion. But my point being that I think that there should be some of that extra power that you get from being in a large ship like that. You should get eaten into by all these processes that they're building into the game, and that's kind of what they've talked about.
You've also got running costs as well. Like I think a lot of the larger ships are going to consume more fuel. They're going to have more power. When they do need maintenance, their parts are going to cost a lot more.
Yeah, maintenance and cost. That balances it out too, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, we know the Kraken and the Idrises. A lot of them have
And salaries.
Yeah, you got to pay staff or NPCs. What's the cut going to be? Is it going to be like pirate cuts back in the day, like where the captain after maintenance he gets an equal share as everyone else, or does he just get more because he's the captain?
Yeah, and that's also something that I've heard come up many times in different conversations. Just the idea that, hey, you know what, you've got a javelin, but you know how much money it's going to take for you to take that javelin out and go do stuff with it.
Yeah.
That kind of
how much you got on gas, homie?
Exactly.
So I kind of think back to like, you know how you look at other games, how there's like a meta. So like you can take any game, like League of Legends, like different champions and stuff like that, and they often change the power of their attacks and stuff like that over time.
There you go, referencing games I've never played before again.
The power of Legends compels you.
Pick another game, but like what I'm trying to say is like I actually think that they probably will change gun stats and component stats and stuff like that over time. That'll change. One day the Ares will be the flavor of the month, and the next week the Gladiator. We're already seeing that at the moment with just the small fighters in the game. It's probably going to be the same thing with a lot of the big ships come in. They will tweak and change weapons. We've seen it across the board. They took out the singe cannons because they were too powerful, and now the Banu don't even have singe cannons. They're only going to be on the bigger ships like the Banu and stuff like that. So I think things will change as time goes on. I think they will balance it. They've often said they don't want any ship to be meta.
Yeah. I know, with what's going on right now in the game, I think is not going to be anywhere near close to what we're experiencing in a few years.
Yeah, well, it's tailored towards the small fighters because that's what we have, and if you see them balance anything, they do really dirty, quick balancing just so they can move on and then come back to it later. Look what they did to the Ares and the Redeemer when they came out. The Redeemer, just to give you an idea, no other ship in the game has this right now, but the turrets on the Redeemer, they rotated half the speed just to nerf it. Right, that isn't
slowed down all of them.
They've done other tweaks since then, but that's across the board. But the Redeemers go at half the speed of everyone else's.
Yeah, they did do a nerf specific to
slow Redeemer.
Just so because its turrets were so powerful, and it was just
the ship is a damn beast, man.
Yeah,
got point. You just wreck shop.
That's why I've got one. And that'll change as time because as more and more big ships come into the game, that Redeemer will probably be, punching above itself, not really punching towards fighters. The reason it's got size 5 guns is you can send that small ship in against some bigger ships and actually do some damage. So its prime targets won't be fighters. It'll be punching above its weight class. Kind of like the Polaris does, where the Polaris has got those capital-sized torpedoes. It's the smallest capital ship in the game, but it's going to be punching at Idrises and Krakens. That's what it's designed to do.
That kind of makes me think of another subject of you know how the the epic Trail of Tears after they nerfed the Ion and the two Ares ships.
Yeah.
Should they be, because you remember how they took away the roadmap, or you know, the future patches of the roadmap. Just they didn't want to have to deal with people saying, oh, this didn't make it in. Should they make an effort to say that, look, we're going to bring out this ship, the stats aren't going to be what they're going to be down the road, this is just like for balancing? Because they always come out like insane, like, oh man, this is going to be the new meta, and then they nerf it down, and people like, my ship, I just paid for this.
Yeah, so again, in League of Legends, as an example, and I know I keep using games that Space doesn't like.
I don't know what that means.
I never played it, but I love it.
When they're selling stuff for money, they always come out good, and then they nerf them. So they come out really strong for the first couple of weeks, and so people are like, oh yeah, I'll buy that because it's really overpowered. And then after a couple of weeks, they nerf it. So basically, it encourages sales as well.
But they do.
Yes.
But they do say it, right? That the stats on the, I mean, obviously it's small text and everything like that, but, and I guess that's the problem.
Should they make more of an effort? Because setting the right expectations kills a lot of future problems.
Right. And the problem is that the people who are already buying all of this stuff, it is a profit too. The people who are already buying all of this stuff know this, right? But it's like newcomers who come in, you know, their first couple of weeks maybe, and they want to get a good ship. And then they buy one of these ships and they're like, wait a second, I didn't realize you guys were going to balance this right afterward.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like,
even some of the old school people are acting like they're brand new because they're crying about it too.
Surprised. I don't know.
Because they pay for money, pay money for it.
Don't pay for them.
There you go. There's your solution, right?
You got a now versus release problem. That's essentially the problem. You know, you
say again.
You got a now versus release problem, right? And I always try to recommend people buy ships more on what the game is going to be at release, rather than just like a lot of people. Like I say, a lot of streamers recommend people buy a ship to play right now. But the problem with that is literally what Space just said. They tend to nerf them very quickly. So plan for release, like what that ship actually is and what it's actually going to do. And the other crazy thing is when you actually look at that, a lot of the fighters drop off because the fighters, as I said, are only going to be really weekend ships unless they're escorts. You know, the industrial ships are where a lot of the money's really going to be at in this game. And
they honestly, like, not all of the ships are going to just change. I mean, you can get a ship right now. None of these ships are in a vacuum. You get a ship right now that you look at and you're like, man, I love this. This is my dream ship. This is perfect. Everything. Yeah. And then like 2 years later, CIG will be like, oh, what do you think of this? And then you're like, okay, relationship ended. The other ship is cooler. It's just like, you can't rely on these ships to be everything that they are for the whole period of the development of the game, because if they change, you're going to be disappointed.
There's also the perception of what you think it is and what it actually is. That's the other part. Like they sell you, like let's give you a really obvious one. So the Odyssey, they tried to tell us that Odyssey was a carrot killer, and it's
everybody loved that one.
It's not. It's not a carrot. So you've got this carrot that's like the Star Trek ship that goes out and explores new worlds and all this stuff. And the Odyssey, it stays on planet and basically surveys the planet. They are both explorers. They're both data driven, but they're completely different. The Carrack is the luxury type of go out there idea of Star Trek, and the other one's the workhorse. You know, it's not going to be as satisfying just staying in one place, scanning the entire planet, but you're going to make so much more money, I think, on that one, because it is a workship. You know,
I don't know if there's that big a valley between them, like you're talking about. That you make it seem like that thing is just stuck orbiting a planet. Another one is just exploring
I get what he's saying, though.
It'll go from planet to planet, but it's just not as glorious, or you know how it sounds nicer to be able to just like cruise through the galaxy and there's a nebula and there's a new Saturn with rings, and there's a new you're looking at sites and finding wormholes and glorious stuff in the Carrack. It's just not quite so glorious oh, we're stuck on this gas planet and we're just circling it, scanning it to find stuff.
See, I think that's your perception. I'm talking about perception.
Could well be.
But I'm looking forward to the Odyssey. Only thing I'm not looking forward to is that MISC interior. It is so monochromatic, man. That's what I don't like about MISC ships, man. They are an eyesore inside.
So you might want to go look at the skins for the Hull A they did there as well.
There it is.
Because we're getting
it. Sell you skins.
Yeah, we're getting interior skins in the future as well. Think about what they did with the.
Wait. I last I heard, they said they were having a problem making different interiors. But you saying they solved that?
But it's planned. Like so,
they will at some point.
Look what they did with the 300 series. So they actually
now we're speculating.
No, we're not speculating. Because you can go
no,
buy
300 series has a customizable interior.
No, I know. Yeah, I know that one, and it didn't work out. It was an experiment that it just didn't work out for them.
No, they got it working. They did the same thing they're doing with everything else. They got it working on one chip. Now they wait.
Yep.
They wait.
It just took too much.
Don't you remember they had?
It took too much time for them to set up, but not enough people brought the extra interiors for the dollars. So it was almost like a marketing test. They were trying to test to see if people would pay extra money to be able to customize their ship, but no. They were asking too much. When you're paying $5 for a coffee maker, nobody was interested in that, right? So that's why it failed, right? They'll still have it eventually in game. It just won't be on the website for them to rip you off. That's essentially what
they had. They had a more recent Star Citizen Live where they discussed that ship specifically, or that customizer that they had on there, and then they were talking about other ways they could customize, and they said that they've tried other ways and it just didn't work out. You basically have to make a brand new ship for it to work. The customizer wasn't an option that was viable. So right now we don't have a clear quote from them saying that they're going to do this.
So if you understand how Dataforge works, though, like a lot of the skins they make at the moment are just HTML color changes, right? Because a lot of the textures are actually multi-layered textures. So you can see it in almost any of the skins on the website. You can go in and you can change the material effects. So like this defender in the background, you could go in and you could actually not change the color, but just change how shiny it is by changing a number. You can also change the color just by changing it, because the actual texture is like a pattern. So an example of that is, I don't know if you remember the digital camo skin they have, like it's a snow camo skin. It's on every single ship. You can buy it everywhere. You can take that and you could just change a few parameters, and instead of being white, it could be green camo or black camo or orange camo. They can do that just by changing a few parameters. It's not the same as a traditional Photoshop texture, where most textures in most games, well, not since, back in the day, they were just one image. Now there are multi-layered images that are all laid over each other, and that's how they get the desired effect in Star Citizen. That's why they're able to do such high fidelity textures, because they're multi-layered.
Right. So it's not as simple as just going in and changing a hex code.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, parts of it, like if you want to change it from yellow to brown, you can do it with a hex code. Right.
All right. Well, give me my all gold interior and make it an NFT.
Yeah.
What's going on with your light, Spacely?
Sorry,
Spacely
I'm playing
sprockets.
with my camera settings, trying to get the exposure.
This dude is going night to day in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
We're here just getting distracted.
Let's hope that doesn't happen, because I'd hate to see NFTs in this game.
Oh my god!
I think we started on that.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. What's that game? Star Atlas? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Well, that's already that's pretty much already flopped and died. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Something I was going to say earlier before we get off talking about this too much, I was going to draw a comparison to Star Atlas and what you were talking about with people selling their ships for real currency in Star Citizen. Because I was like, that starts to set these people up for thinking, okay, well, I'm going to buy these ships as investment packages, because the currency is going to go up, going to go up. The game launches, I can sell these out and get better. I guess you can't get dollars back. So there's at least that, but you're getting in-game currency.
Well, that's the worst investment idea I've ever heard.
You know how they talk
about put hundreds of dollars in here so I can make more credits.
Yeah.
So you know how
buy more med pens.
Nice.
So you know how you got a game like Roblox, And, you know, that's kind of probably one of our first metaverses. I actually do see this game kind of going towards a metaverse where you can actually work in game. And there are certain things that people will probably pay real world dollars to earn.
That sounds miserable.
It does. It does. I want to keep like real earning. Like I like the idea of games being able to do that to earn, you know, actual money in games. But I want those to be like their own thing.
Yeah. Like don't call those games, call those virtual work environments or something.
There you go, man.
Like
there you go.
Put that in a separate section, please.
Exactly, man.
I guess it depends where the game ends up going. Like one of the things I was really clear to me after we interviewed Sandy the other week was this company is so much bigger now. Like it started from passions and it started from like a roots and it's grown up and it's so big now. Like we're getting new people coming into the game all the time. We get new content creators that pop up. Like that's one of my favorite things to do is just look at the new content creators that pop up, you know, and there's like 2 or 3 every week now, you know, and
is it too big to fail?
But also is it too ugly now? You know, once something becomes big, it becomes this corporate behemoth. And you can look over the last couple of years, they don't communicate the same way they used to. They don't share as much information as they used to. You know, Sandy's not even there anymore. Like, are they pushing certain people out? We've had a lot of the staff turn over the many of the years. What is it now? Is it just this faceless? But you know, like what happens with really big tech companies when they become, you know, like Google, like it's not as personable as it used to be. They still try to
lose the soul.
That's it. That's the word I'm looking for. Are they losing their soul?
I mean, it's changed, but I still definitely feel a lot of what I used to feel. I still get to sit down and talk with developers. I still see them hopping into forum posts. We still get weekly videos and live streams. Jared is still Jared. I mean, like we still have a lot of what this whole thing used to be about. I'm happy to see them transform into a company that has a much better grasp on their production process, though. And that is if nothing else, that is the biggest thing I've noticed in the last 1.5 to 2 years. Is just how much it feels like they've gotten on what they need to do to get this game start being made. And I think we've seen that with this last month, maybe 2-3 months. A lot of people starting to jump in and be like, okay, feels like they're actually making progress here. Feels like this is something I can actually jump in and start playing. So it lost some of that heart and some of that spirit, but I think it also picked up a lot more than it might have lost.
Yeah, I'm with you. It probably gained more than it lost, and it just the nature of I think so. It's gonna happen. The nature of growing means less of the little details, the little heartwarming things. They get lost in the mix just because of the sheer numbers and the depth of production that you're in. It just doesn't. It can't survive those things. But they're doing a great job, especially with their community team, man. The community team I love them, man. Shout out to y'all, man.
Yeah.
XQ got some words to say.
I just wish they could keep a bit of that heart, I guess, is what I'm saying. Like, I think if you have the right people in place, you can have that heart continue and still. Google is a company that I'm like kind of looking at there because you know how they like you hear about on campus they have all that free stuff for their staff, and so a lot of their staff don't even want to go home and stuff like that. So they know how to look after people, and I just think some companies forget what made them so great to begin with, and I don't want to see that happen to CIG. I think if they remember their audience and look after their audience, the audience will keep buying ships, you know, but they've made some big changes of how they've done things through the sales, and a lot of people have stopped buying ships and stuff like that. So I don't know. There's no perfect method.
Yeah, no perfect scenario.
Yeah.
No, they do a good job with balancing it, though, man.
Yeah,
they still have some heart, and they are full blown on the production, making money to make sure that we got some budget for this game. They run a good balance, man.
Yeah, it's a balance now.
It's difficult to criticize it when you look at it from every angle, because they've obviously put themselves in a very difficult situation, building up how much this game was going to be, raising so much money, building so momentum. But at the same time, it's just like they're getting to build something that nobody else has gotten to, and they've got an absolutely ridiculous force behind them pushing them to do it. So it's like There's no stopping.
We're definitely a bunch of crazies, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You know
And it's
what?
like
This
you said.
is, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say it's like you said, Dig. Is like it might be. I don't want to say too big to fail at this point, but too big for the plug to be pulled. Right? It's got to run itself out at this point.
Yeah, true. That's like some of this what you guys are saying. That I think that's why Star Atlas. I don't want to hate on it. I don't like hating on people's projects and stuff, but I don't think it's gonna go anywhere because they don't have a Chris Roberts or a David Braben, somebody with vision that's helming this thing and has a background in this thing. They got some seasoned people behind them, but they don't have somebody that's steering a ship that has a vision. You got to have somebody that has a vision to make these things happen.
That goes back to what I was saying at the beginning. Like, this project started as it was passion driven. That is financially driven. There are two very different things. And so if you are going, financially driven, you're not getting gamers in there. You're getting people that are trying to make a quick buck. That is totally different. And they're not going to be loyal to you. They are just there for the dollars. The reason why Star Citizen has gone where it went was it was driven on passion. And that's my biggest fear, is they're forgetting that. Right? As long as they keep remembering the reason we're here and the reason why everyone's backed is we believe in that vision of Chris, that really big game that we all want. No other game is going to come close to this game in my lifetime.
Have you seen the ships in this game?
Yeah.
There's ships that you're like, come on, man. Come on, man.
Star Atlas?
All right, this is one. Yes, Star Atlas. There's this ship where it looks incredible. Like, the concept art is incredible for these things. But one of them, like the controls, you put your hands into the water, and the water, like, is like ridiculous. Like, what do you call it? High, whatever, sci-fi, man. It's incredible. It's like something you would read in a book and be like, oh my gosh. And there's the drawing of it. It's stuff that you'll never see.
Yeah.
And it's
it'll get changed from concept, right?
Yeah. It's not even, there's no way you can change it. Like, people thought the Banu Merchantman was a ambitious ship. Like, dude, how they gonna make a space mall, man? And they're doing it right now. This is next level. This is like taking the Banu Merchantman and multiplying the complexity of it by like 100, man. It's ridiculous.
It's the power of cryptocurrency.
I think they're overpromising.
The power of crypto compels you.
Yeah, it feels like they're overpromising with Star Atlas to me, but that's just me. And they don't have the developers yet. They don't have the teams. Like, if you look at how long it took them, they started with 8 people with Star Citizen, and they've just got up to 750. Like, you need people behind you to make this game. Yes, money will get you people, but again, you've got to keep having money. So they're trying to drive this whole thing with it. I just don't like the concept of money when you can have passion. Passion is such a more valuable resource to me. Yeah.
Also, hinging the production of the game on a cryptocurrency is going to be way less stable than, like, Star Citizen is always, I guess, depended on just regular old fiat currency, but the idea of you're not getting any return from this, but basing everybody's enjoyment of that game on the value of the cryptocurrency, and then considering that value can go up and down based on real world recessions and everything. They might, they could hit a bad month and have to fire a ton of people. I don't know. That does seem really risky.
They could have like you said, really bad month and the whole game crashes.
You should see the used market in there, because it's all in the blockchain. You can just look at the stuff.
The
used
public
market for ships that haven't come out yet is incredible, man. People are taking capital L's on the ships that they bought, man.
Really?
They buy them.
What happened?
Huge losses, man.
Did it go downhill?
Well, one is the value, the crypto value down. Like, we're in a super bear market for like stocks and crypto right now.
True.
And and the other thing is, because like some people are making a little bit of money, but most people are not making any money, so they're not getting no ROI on these ships, and so they're trying to just get rid of them. These are like $15,000 ships, right? And so you see some of them going for like half of that. So less than half of that. It's crazy.
I just want to say, and I know I'm interrupting again, but that's $15,000 for one ship. The most expensive ship in Star Citizen is currently $3,000. So I do want to point that out. Like people talked about, when there was the package for $27,000, and people lost their mind. That was for every ship in the game, every single one. Right? That's not one ship. That's every single one. And there's a big difference when you got $15,000 for one. They have literally taken it to an extreme with Star Atlas.
The Javelin's the most expensive ship, right?
Yeah.
And
I love the expensive ships.
$3,000 at the moment. It is $3,000.
$3,000. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I need more referrals.
That is still so much money.
Yeah. Have you?
Oh my gosh.
What's the most expensive ship in Star Atlas? Do you know, Dick?
Nah, but I'll be happy to look it up, man.
Yeah, look it up.
Unless you want to put it on screen and look it up.
No, because I don't know what I'm looking for. So yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But I tapped out of Star Atlas, and I've talked to a lot of others. Like I've talked to Piggles and Hader and a lot of other content creators, and they're just like, nope, get the hell out. The interesting thing though was a lot of the content. You were talking about how great the content artists were. A lot of the artists from Star Citizen worked on that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of similarities, and I think they've heavily ridden on the back of Star Citizen's goodwill to try and get where they got. But
Star Citizen's goodwill.
Yeah. And I would recommend anyone against going near Star Atlas.
Dude, it's a win for the devs, like the ship concept artists.
Yeah,
because their job is so much easier because they don't have to factor in all the metrics. They don't have to make these things work.
Like this doesn't have to fly.
Yeah. We'll just go make you a good picture, maybe a good E3D file.
Let's talk about I guess you were looking up the price. Did you find that?
No, I can't. I'm looking at one that's 30,000. I can't find exactly what is
Holy crap.
Star Atlas tries to sell 30,000 ship. Nobody buys it. That's one of the articles that popped up.
Yeah, that's what I heard of recently. So that literally means that's
a decent car. One
ship that is equal to all the ships in Star Citizen. Just put that up in the memory berries.
So it's like a Focus ST right there.
Like, are these people that, because like Star Citizen players and Elite Dangerous players and No Man's Sky players, we're ready to play and grind the hell out these games. Are these people ready to, how many people are ready to get into these games and really play and looking to be immersed? Or are they just like looking to flip some stuff?
Or even just interested in cool looking ships. I mean, I used to sit on ArtStation and look at cool sci-fi. I still do that. I still go on there and I just look at people's art. People make cool freaking art. I totally understand, especially after seeing what happened with Star Citizen, people just seeing these really cool ships and being like, man, I just like the idea is just, I want it, and then buying it.
Yeah.
It's that simple,
man.
Yeah. No, I still go back to the whole goodwill.
But 30 grand in?
Oh, yeah. I've never wanted something like that.
Dude, that's a car. That's a real world car.
Yeah.
Like that's a
good car.
That's a good car.
Yeah. Car.
That's crazy.
Nice little sedan with the leather interior.
That's wild. But talking about pictures
grain on the steering wheel, my bad.
Talking about pictures and ships, though, one of the biggest criticisms of Star Citizen has always been that they're selling JPEGs. I mean, even as recently as like 2 months ago, I made a video calling out GameRank because they're still saying that these ships won't be in the game when they're already in the game.
Yeah, tell me about that. That's crazy.
I saw that as well.
A lot of it's just a lot of people though still seem to think that this game is all about buying pictures of ships and then waiting for the game to be developed. But the fact of the matter is we're seeing less concept ships than we used to, right?
Yep, that is 100%. Well, we only seen, like, correct me if I'm wrong, I think there might have been one ship that wasn't at a sale last year. All the others were at Invictus or Anniversary.
And the Odyssey wasn't.
Yeah, well, we haven't had one this year, right? Or am I mistaken? No, we haven't had one this year.
No,
and then we got Invictus in.
No, yeah, we have.
What did we have?
The Expanse.
Oh, that's right. No, we did. Yeah. We had the Expanse.
Just happened.
That's it. Yeah, my memory is so short. But I think we had the Scorpius before last year too, didn't we?
Yeah, Scorpius, Odyssey.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was that point?
No, the Odyssey was at the anniversary sale. I think the Scorpius.
Oh, you mean outside of the event?
Yeah, I think it was
Scorpius was Invictus.
It was Invictus. Okay, cool. Yeah, what I'm trying to get at though is there's less and less ships that are not at events, and you tend to have them, 2 or 3 at every event now. So
yeah, we used to get like 6 concept ships in a year.
I think we
like
got
every other month.
There was one year that I remember we got 10 in a year.
Yeah. That like it's changed so much since
What
then.
was that?
Man, how
That was probably 2017, 2018.
Yeah,
that was before my time.
Yeah,
you old bastards.
Do you know the other? You bring that up, right? And I was actually sitting here the other day, and I must be wrong, but I've been following this game since Kickstarter, right? And I'm actually can't. I'll put this out there. If anyone can tell me in the comments below, I'd love to know of another content creator that is still following this game since Kickstarter. I can't find one, right? So I'm trying to think, like, am I just, I'm that boring? I've been around here all that time, but like, surely there's one other content creator that's been doing this as long as I have.
No, man, they all moved on to greener pastures.
So yeah, I probably should have moved on.
Old man execute.
Yeah, dude, I started following this game when I was 30.
You should be a character in the game, man, for your services.
We'll see.
I always love those comments that are like, "Oh yeah, I found out about this game, and then I got married 5 times, went to college, and graduated from NASA school.
Let me put
still not out.
Went to space camp."
So you know Piggles, by the way, Space. He backed this game when he was 11.
Wow, how old is it?
Wow,
he's now like 19 or 20.
Oh my god,
that's
wow.
crazy.
That is wild, man.
That's such a huge, like, that's so much different from like 25 to 36 or something. That's wild.
I bought it with my pocket money, and it's like, yep, I've now got my first job, and I'm playing Star Citizen.
Right.
With me birthday money from me mum.
Yeah.
Like, Mom, build me a computer. I can't play this game. You're like 9 years later, like, why'd I build you that computer though? Yeah. Why'd I spend that money on that? You still can't play the game.
Yeah. Well, look, I've waited longer for the Banner Merchantman than I have for most games. I've been waiting 9 years for the Banner Merchantman, and most games are made in.
How long it's been in concept?
2013, I think it was, the end of 2013.
Wow.
And I brought it the first day. It was only available for one day initially, at the end of November, and I melted my Starfarer to get it. And then I got the Banner Merchantman, and then in February I contacted it was back then. It was just Chelsea and Alexis, and I contacted them and said, "Hey, can I buy my Starfarer back?" And they let me do that. But it was very personal back then. It was very, when customer service was 2 people, and now there's the whole team. Like, it's totally different behemoth now.
Yeah, split teams, concierge team, and
so yeah.
What other ships do they got to get off the books from back then?
Well, I think they've got. I was reading the other day, and it's probably out of date. And it was a Google article, so please take this with a grain of salt. But there is 122 ships in game currently, and there's 168 known. That was the article I read.
Just thinking, the whole series was around that time, but they've started that. The Starliner, it's a big one.
Yep.
Crucible.
But basically, we've got 32 unknown ships because they want to get to 200 by release.
Well, they're gonna get there quick. They're gonna get there way before release.
Oh yeah,
200 anyway.
Well, yeah, they've got a lot of reworks to do.
That thing I showed you before the show started.
600i.
You remember the thing I showed you before we started the show? On an episode that hasn't aired yet, but there's 9 ships on that. So if you take that off, that basically means there's only 19 ships left after that are unknown. And me and Badgers were actually going through and writing them down, and we could get to 12. So that means there's 7 ships that we just couldn't think about. They're roles that are not kind of attainable. So there's potentially 7 special role ships. After that, the crazy thing is you can almost work them all out with logic. That was what blew my mind. Like, there's not a large medical ship, but there is a capital, and there's a medium, and there's a small. So you can kind of go through and work out roughly which ones are missing.
What ship are you in? Wait, let me face this. It look like I'm facing you. What ship are you in? Execute.
I'm in the reclaimer. Yeah, if I move out of the way, like, look, wait, yeah, look. See, it's the reclaimer.
Oh, okay, nice.
That's the only one with those seats on them.
Yeah.
That's right.
So yeah.
But they also said that they also said they want to get to over 100 ground vehicles too.
Yeah, so
they need to come up with something to do with them. I mean, I know they got plans for them, but let's execute that before we get 100.
Yeah, I think they were talking a long ways out.
But you could take almost any role of the ships that we have and put it to a ground vehicle. So there's a repair, there's an ambulance, there's a fire. Like, we haven't even got into firefighting or emergency response. Like, there are going to be fires on ships. You're going to need to have a fire, like a ship that actually puts out fires, or something that emergency, prevents, you have the blowouts, what do you call it? Decompression. There must be a ship that comes in and like squirts all this foam in or something like that, and it stops it from decompressing and decompresses and stuff like that. What are they going to do about that with emergency response? We have firefighters. What's the space version of that? When a ship, emergency decompresses, they're going to have to be some kind of ship that they send in to try and rescue people. Is that just the Apollo that picks up the injured bodies, or do they actually
get the bodies,
or do they try to save the ship as well? So yeah, food for thought.
Yes.
All right. Do you want to wrap it up there? We've been talking for almost an hour.
Sure.
Yeah, we can wrap up there.
Dig, was there anything else you want to touch on?
Yeah, before we wrap up.
Yeah, let's talk about space COVID, man. It's a beast, man. Everybody mask up.
Heard it wiped out Microtech already.
Well, they already was wearing the bags on their heads at Lorville, so they were safe.
Yeah.
Their immune systems are too strong for that, man. They're breathing in.
That's true.
Yeah. No, they can handle it.
Yeah. Their lungs are the filter scrubbers. Oh, dear. A really good conversation here today, so I enjoyed it. Is there anything you'd like to hear from people below in the comments, Dig?
I want to let y'all know, or I want to hear from y'all. Do y'all want to hear more of this type of stuff? Because this was cool. This was like a free flowing type of conversation, conversational rather than just topical.
Yeah.
Even though we did some topical stuff. Yeah. What do you guys like? What'd you like? What'd you not like? Is Space Tomatoes moisturizer shiny enough?
That's why I was messing with my exposure, man. Because it looks so shiny.
Yeah. I don't have that problem. But I can imagine it's a pain in the butt. I have a problem where I look too white. Like, I look really pale because I don't get enough sun. So I've probably got the opposite problem of you, Space.
You're coming in looking like a
I'm dealing with this. I got a Logitech. Actually, now that I realize it, it hasn't flickered at all. So it must be something with that computer. But this Logitech like webcam, because Cam Link broke. So I'm not dealing with my usual camera setup.
What Logitech is it? Like a C920?
922, yeah.
I need a 922. Let's get the 920.
We're getting into after show talk. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up. He's been Space Tomato. He's been Dig That. I've been Execute. Again, like, subscribe, all that usual stuff. Thanks for joining us, and I'll catch you in the next one.